welcome. Today we're really getting into something fascinating, something we all kind of recognize but maybe don't fully grasp. Charisma. You hear that word, what talks into your head? Maybe, a movie star. Or that politician who just seems to command attention. Sometimes it even feels like someone who's maybe a bit aloof. Someone who just owns the room. It's so easy to think charisma is just like this magic thing you're born with, for the lucky few. The good-looking, the rich, the super outgoing types. But then you see people who tick all those boxes, successful, look great, and yet something's missing. That real pull isn't quite there. So, okay, let's unpack this. What if real charisma is something else entirely? Something maybe you can actually build?
That's a really key point. It's fascinating because charisma isn't just one single thing. Like, you either have it or you don't. Think of it more like a whole package deal. It's this mix of what's going on inside you and how you present yourself on the outside. It's that quality that just naturally draws people in, makes others respect you, notice you, almost without you trying too hard. And the best part, it's absolutely learnable, honestly. Some people might have a head start, sure, but these skills, anyone can develop them if they put in the effort.
Okay, learnable. So what does that actually mean for us?
Yeah.
In our everyday lives, our jobs, our relationships. Because if we can really cultivate this, that could change things quite a bit, right? How we connect with people, right? So when we meet someone new, that first impression hits hard, instantly. Even before words are exchanged, we're sizing things up based on how they look, how they carry themselves. Does that mean appearance is basically everything when it comes to charisma?
It's definitely a big piece of that initial puzzle. Yeah. But maybe not how people usually think. Sure, being neat, tidy, looking put together, that sends a strong, positive signal. But sheer beauty on its own, like you said, that's not charisma. I remember this doctor I knew years ago. She's still my go-to example. Brilliant, totally professional. But it wasn't just that. Her office, spotless. Her style, sharp, really chic. And the way she treated patients with this incredible respect almost, like a warmth that was really genuine. It was the whole picture. Her skill, that real respect she showed, the polished environment, it just built this immense trust and, admiration. Think about the opposite. The doctor who's maybe technically great, but their office is a disaster, or someone's stunningly beautiful but totally dismissive. The charisma came from how it all fit together, looking the part, being ethical, being competent, and being genuinely respectful. It's deeper than just looks. It signals care for yourself, your work, and others.
That makes total sense. It's the whole package, not just one shiny part. But what if that outer polish isn't backed up by inner confidence? This brings us to something huge, self-confidence. I had this friend once, honestly, objectively gorgeous. People were just drawn to her looks. But the first thing she'd say, almost like a reflex, was, "Oh, I look so awful today," or "I'm so ugly." It was baffling. And you know what? Her saying that all the time, it actually made her beauty kind of fade. We started seeing her through that negative lens she created.
Wow, yeah. That perfectly shows how what's inside affects what people see outside. And it brings up this whole idea of self-acceptance, doesn't it? Sometimes people have features they think of flaws, maybe a unique nose or whatever. But when they just own it, carry it with confidence, it often becomes, charming. Part of their look. I know people like that with maybe a noticeable nose bump, but they carry themselves so easily. It just fits. You feel their acceptance. Compare that to someone who's had, tons of procedures trying to fix every little thing, but they still seem uncomfortable in their own skin. Now, basic hygiene, obviously clean skin, healthy hair, teeth, that stuff matters. It shows self-respect, but constantly altering yourself often comes from not liking yourself deep down. Rather than truly enhancing anything, people sense that inconsistency. Real appeal, real charisma isn't about chasing some impossible, ever-changing ideal.
Right. It's less about pursuit of perfection and more about owning your look intentionally, knowing what actually works for your body, your face, and taking real pride in it, not superficially, but like an art. I hear so many excuses though, women saying, "Oh, I'm just a homebody, I don't do makeup." Men saying, "A real man should have a belly or smell like," But those are just walls we build, aren't they?
Yeah.
If you want to really engage with the world, connect properly, doesn't that take some personal effort?
Absolutely it does. And that loops right back to self-love and discipline too. Someone who genuinely values themselves doesn't just accept being unhealthy, saying, "Oh, well, this is me." That discipline shows in their health, their choices, their lifestyle. When you take care of yourself, eat well, stay active, choose your company wisely, you send out this subtle signal, "I value myself." It sets boundaries. It says, "I'm not just drifting along." And that tends to attract people on a similar wavelength. You end up talking about growth, business, ideas, not just, gossip or petty stuff. Your self-respect shapes your social world.
That's a really interesting connection. Okay, moving past the physical side, let's talk behavior. A really key thing charismatic people do is make others feel, important. Seen. How do they pull that off?
This is huge because fundamentally, we all just want to be acknowledged, to feel like we matter. Charismatic people are masters of the genuine, specific compliment, not just throwing out "you look nice" or "a great job." Especially things women hear constantly about looks, it loses meaning. Instead, they notice something unique, something specific about someone's personality or an action or an insight. Like, wow, the way you explained that complex issue in the meeting really clarified things for everyone, or I really admired your patience dealing with that tricky situation. When it's specific and true, the other person feels genuinely seen, and that creates an instant connection. It draws them to you.
And it feels like it has to come from a place of real integrity, right? You could probably fake that for a bit, but people would catch on eventually.
It's safe.
It's about treating everyone that way, isn't it? Not just people you want to impress.
Precisely. Charismatic people don't have that upward glance or downward glance. Their behavior is consistent. They treat the CEO and the cleaner with the same fundamental respect. They'll genuinely thank the waiter, acknowledge the person holding the door. They see people. That lack of arrogance, that basic human decency, it's incredibly appealing. Nobody enjoys feeling invisible.
Okay, so that's the external behavior.
Yeah.
What about their internal world? Communication, emotions. This sounds like we're getting into emotional intelligence, EQ. What exactly is that, and how does it show up in someone charismatic?
Yeah, emotional intelligence, EQ. It's more than just being nice. It's a real psychological concept, skills you can measure, understanding your own emotions, managing them, and crucially, reading and influencing the emotions of others accurately. People high in EQ have this remarkable ability to shift the energy in a room. When they speak, people listen. Really listen. Their words stick with you. They can inspire, even change how you think. It's not just what they say, it's the energy, the conviction, the emotional connection behind it. And this raises a big question. How much does self-awareness play into this? Not just knowing you dislike, say, broccoli, but understanding your deeper triggers, those inner wounds we all carry. Those often come from way back, experiences that shape how we react now, sometimes without us even realizing why. A really strong reaction to something small might be tapping into old pain.
That's a tricky line to walk, isn't it? Accepting yourself versus just refusing to grow or change bad habits. How do you balance that?
Yeah.
Especially if those wounds make you, say, overly sensitive or quick to anger.
Exactly. The work is figuring out why you react that way. Understanding those triggers. It doesn't mean you have to change your fundamental personality. An introvert doesn't need to become the life of the party. A naturally shy person doesn't have to force themselves to be outgoing. But you do have to work on controlling the negative fallout, the outbursts of anger, the extreme sensitivity that pushes people away. Just saying, that's just how I am, well, that's not helpful. It damages relationships, hurts your career. These are weaknesses you need to address. Finding safe people, maybe a close circle who accept you, weaknesses and all, is vital for growth. Not people who try to fix you, but support you. But you also have to show you're willing to take ownership, work on your stuff, not just blame everyone else.
And a big part of that emotional regulation seems to be about positive energy. Truly charismatic people. They just don't seem to be constant complainers, do they?
Oh, definitely not. You know those people. They walk in and it's immediately, oh, my life is terrible. Everything's going wrong. The world is ending. Oh, they just dump all this heavy negative energy. And naturally, well, it's draining. It pushes people away over time. Look, friends are there for tough times, absolutely. But being a nonstop source of negativity, that wears thin on everyone. If you're struggling, find healthier outlets. Talk to a therapist, journal, find solutions. Don't just make everyone around you carry your burden constantly. And seriously, never underestimate the power of a simple, genuine smile. It sounds cliche maybe, but I still remember years ago, a total stranger just smiled at me on the street. No reason, it just stuck with me. It felt good. Radiate those good vibes, people notice.
Beyond the energy, there's another core trait that seems vital. Responsibility.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Charismatic people take ownership. In friendships, at work, and especially when they mess up. Even if you could cover up a mistake, choosing to apologize sincerely and own it, that's incredibly powerful, much more admirable. You'd never confuse someone truly charismatic with someone arrogant or, someone suddenly acting superior because they got a bit of money or status. For me, if I had to pick just one quality, responsibility might be it. It signals maturity, reliability. You can count on them as a partner, parent, employee, friend. They follow through. That's universally attractive.
That totally tracks. And linking responsibility with consistency.
Yeah.
It feels like authenticity is the long game here. You can't really fake charisma indefinitely, can you?
No way. People are smart, way smarter than we sometimes give them credit for. Never assume you can fool people with curated photos or a carefully crafted online persona. Maybe you can keep up the act for a little while, but if it's not real, if it's not rooted in who you genuinely are, people will eventually see through it. And worse, they lose trust. Think of a restaurant, right? Starts amazing, great food, everyone loves it. Then the quality dips. People say, it's not the same, and they stop going. It feels like a betrayal almost. It's the same with people. You can put on a show, be charming, stylish, attentive for a bit, but eventually the real, unpracticed you slips out. Real charisma comes from authenticity that's been earned through practice, working on etiquette, body language, communication, until it's just how you are. It's not forcing yourself to be nice or look good. It becomes ingrained. Every little twitch, every glance tells a story: anxious, happy, confident, worried. It has to be genuine.
And wrapping up these internal qualities, there's one more that's so powerful but maybe easy to overlook. Just being a good listener. Charisma isn't just about talking, is it?
Not at all. In fact, often it's the opposite. Charismatic people are masters of being present. We've all been there, right? Stuck with someone who only talks about themselves, only wants to hear their own voice. It's exhausting. Charismatic people, they actually lower their guard. They make eye contact. They listen to understand, not just to wait for their turn to talk. Honestly, there's nothing better than feeling truly heard. Like someone.
So if we try to tie all this together, charisma really boils down to what? Deep self-respect. A commitment to always be learning physically, mentally, emotionally, accepting your flaws, but actively working on the weaknesses, and staying curious, really curious about the world. You don't have to have done everything, but information's everywhere now. Google, YouTube, AI. There's no excuse not to be informed, able to hold a conversation. Even if you haven't traveled everywhere, you can still develop your knowledge, your taste.
Exactly. And one final thought on that. As you work on yourself, inside and out, you naturally level up, so to speak. But that growth shouldn't lead to arrogance. Ever. It should actually create more appreciation, more respect for everyone, no matter where they are on their journey. You have to genuinely respect others.
Right.
Because only then, when it's real, will they truly respect you back.
Wow, that really brings it home. Charisma isn't some magic trick. It's deep work, rooted in self-improvement, respect, and just being real.
So, thinking about all this, connecting it to the bigger picture, maybe the real question for you listening right now is, what's one specific thing, one actionable step you'll take starting today, based on our chat, to cultivate your own unique charisma?
Thank you so much for joining us today as we explored charisma. We really hope you continue your own journey of learning and self-discovery, and we'll be back with another exploration soon.